Here we are with another lightning round, this time a plumbing company on the eastern edge of Albuquerque called Northern Mechanical. I have Austin here with me. Austin, please go ahead and share with us a summary about your business.
How you doing, Adam? Thanks for having me. We are a plumbing and mechanical company that has been in business for about 2 years, and we primarily focus on residential service work and equipment installation. We do some commercial construction as well, but primarily we're focusing on demographic of 25 to 65, and yeah, I would say 90% residential. And like I said, we've been in business for 2 years, and right now we just have a team of two.
Okay. And how have you been getting customers currently?
Since the beginning, it was all primarily word of mouth and references based on that. Since we've been trying to grow, we've been working on getting more reviews.
All right. Well, that the purpose of this lightning round is to dive a little bit into that and see if we can get you more customers organically. And so without further ado, we'll just jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So I made a couple graphics yesterday. I was just playing around with AI, actually created these.
Nice.
There's 8 local SEO ranking factors. I have the main 5 here. There are 3 others, but they're very tiny slices of the pie. One of them you can't even manipulate, which is personal. That's when you are searching on your own computer with cookies and the browser remembers your search history and then changes, based on your search history, what it's going to present to you. That's at the customer
Mm,
level. So that you can't manipulate that. The other one is social media. Very, very small impact on SEO because the search engines know that as a business, most of the social media content is one directional. It's most of those publishing is done by the business. Very few people are going to a plumbing company or an HVAC company website and hanging out there all the time, right?
right.
And then the third one is behavioral, which is like click through signals. So when people click on your Google business profile and then click on directions or click further in, click on your website, anything that's showing that people are actively engaging with your brand. The problem with that is that in the past, you can manipulate that with SEO. I don't know if you've heard companies offering CTR services, click through rate
Okay.
services. Google's gotten so good at detecting artificial CTR signals that it's very, very risky that we don't offer that service. And any company that's offering that service now most likely is going to get you into more trouble than it's worth. So
Mm,
those are the 3 that we're not going to focus on. These are the big 5: your Google business profile, which is the GBP, review signals. So that's, speed at which you get reviews, quantity of reviews, star rating. There's a bunch of different signals there. Website structure. Everything now with the helpful content update is about having a properly structured website. Then backlinks, those are third-party links that are linking to your assets to strengthen the authority of your brand. And then citations. Now, citations can also be backlinks. The most common ones are directory listings like Better Business Bureau, City Pages, Super Pages, Dex Knows, all that kind of stuff. Industry-specific ones like House, Angie, Home Advisor. But citations are also anything that mentions the brand and the who you are, what you do, and where you do it. So it could be a press release, it could be blogs, and any kind of content out there. It doesn't even have to have a link to you. It could be just simply a brand mention. I asked AI to elevate the 3 sections that we're going to focus on. The biggest ones in your scenario are the website, the Google business profile, and citations. You have too few citations. You do have published street address, but you don't have a lot of citations. So getting more of those. Now with AI leans heavily on citations. So we raised our standard. In the past, it was just have more citations than your competition. Now it's have more citations than your competition, but also have a minimum of 60. We raised the threshold a bit,
Oh, wow.
just because AI is leaning. Because think about it, it's a language learning model. So it's looking for textual references of the business corroborating who you are, what you do, and where you do it. And obviously, citations do exactly that. So it's very, very important for AI. So we're just going to go right down the list. The biggest thing is the Google Business Profile. It has the biggest impact on local SEO because you can't even be in that critical local 3-pack without having a Google Business Profile.
Sure.
You want to also have it fully optimized. So issues that I had identified was location. So we're going to open this up. Actually, I think I already had this on this map here. So you're on the very eastern edge, and we talked about this a couple of days ago when we first spoke. This is a whole dead zone over here.
Right.
So since SEO expands out like a radius, like a dartboard, you want to be somewhere in the middle so that your customers are in all directions. If no matter how much you expand, even if you expand this far out in SEO and visibility, all of this is a dead zone. So you're basically 50% is the best that you could do from an SEO standpoint. So I'm working with a number of companies actually as we speak, like a cleaning company in Tallahassee, Florida, for example, that just got a lease signed yesterday for an office in the center of Tallahassee because he was also on the eastern side, too far
Yeah.
away from the majority of customers. So we spoke a little bit about, the demographics here and ideal locations. We'll talk more about that in the future. You did mention to me that your long-term plan is to definitely get an office. So we'll talk about the strategy and how to get that perfect office that's going to print money for you. And, ever since COVID, commercial real estate has taken a dive. So there's some good
Sure.
opportunities out there in most metro areas to get some low real estate, just some tiny little hole in the wall place just to use it as a beacon for SEO. Location, location, location is very, very important. So that's a major issue. Missing categories. So right now you have plumber as your primary, and then you have air conditioning contractor, gas fitter, HVAC contractor. Now I created a whole list here of other categories. I'm going to blow this up here. So for plumbing, additional plumbing categories, and you might not do all these services, I'm just grabbing all the ones that are relevant. You've got
Sure.
drainage service for any kind of drain cleaning, water filter supplier if you're doing any kind of RO systems, for example, water softening equipment supplier, hot water system supplier. This is the potable. There's one for HVAC, which is heating equipment supplier. That's for boilers. So sometimes people get those two mixed up. Then you have bathroom remodeler, kitchen remodeler for all the plumbers out there. Even if you're just doing the plumbing aspect of the remodel, you still qualify for having bathroom and kitchen remodeler as that, because obviously when people are doing remodeling, they're going to need a plumber for those two areas of the house. Septic system service and gas installation service. So you have gas fitter, but if you're doing installs, you would use that one as well. And
Right.
then for HVAC, you got a whole bunch of others: a heating contractor, air conditioning repair service, furnace repair service, again, heating equipment supplier, air conditioning system supplier, air duct cleaning service if you do duct cleaning, mechanical contractor, refrigeration repair service, boiler supplier, ventilation equipment, air filter supplier, dryer vent cleaning service. Now, you are limited to 10. So we'll go offline and we'll talk about, based on the services you provide, obviously cutting out all the ones that you don't do, but we want to focus on the bigger ones, the high search volume, and we could talk offline on that. But just to let you know that if you add these additional categories, and what's great is it's free to add these categories. It's just
Sure.
updating your Google Business
I
Profile.
see some we could add right away.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk offline about that. And then missing services and descriptions on services. So we talked about this. Unfortunately, I can't show this because you can only see services on a mobile phone. For some odd reason, Google does not allow you to see services on a desktop, but there would be a button over here on mobile device to click on services. You have some listed because Google will automatically just assume you do a bunch of different services, but you can add more, and you can get up to 300 characters description on each of those, and that will have a big impact on SEO. And again, it's free. We can give you a AI prompt on how to write SEO optimized descriptions for those services. You can bang them out really quick.
Love that.
Then we have, let's see, what else? Description needs to be advised. So your description, see if I can go back here. You have a very small description, and you're also mentioning the other brand. If it's been a couple of years, you could probably drop that by right now and then beef this up. So we have a tutorial on how to write a fully optimized description. You have 750 characters, so you've got plenty of opportunity to include service areas, get some location relevance in there, and the services you provide. So we'd beef that up. And also, I wouldn't mention Michigan because, again, that throws off location, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that needs to be updated. And then what else? The GBP posts need to be done properly using the learn more. So no one clicks on this stuff. I talked to so many companies. it's a Google property, so using it as a link source to link to your assets is very valuable. But I don't get any businesses telling me that they're getting customers clicking on call now and actually calling. It's just too far down. People are up here. They don't even know this exists, or they just
Mm,
ignore it. So you want to use the learn more option and then link, but do it in a very, very strategic way. So if you're going to do a post about a service you provide, link directly to that inner service page on your website. If you're talking about a geographic region of Albuquerque, link to that special location page designated to that town or whatever, because you're not just going to, you should have location pages. We'll talk more about that in a second on your website, but you're going to have like local cities in and around Albuquerque, towns, et cetera, that you also service. So you want to have those as dedicated location pages that will bring your visibility to those areas as well. So you can link to those locations, and then all the citations, as you build the citations out and branded assets and even a press release, you can also link to those targets as well. What it does is when you're linking to all your assets, your digital assets online, you're strengthening the knowledge graph that Google determines your brand strength. You want to create association between all those assets to say, hey, all of those are related to our brand, right?
mm,
So very, very important strategy. We have a posting service that includes QR code embeds and your company logo embed in the images on top of doing all of that proper content. That's a service that you could either, choose to use or try to do it yourself, but we kind of coach you on doing that.
okay.
That's it for the Google Business Profile. Let's talk about the website. So this was one of the weirdest ones that we ran into, because it
Yeah.
looked good here, the domain is here, but if you click onto any of these inner pages and you realize you're in a staging environment on WP Engine.
Yeah.
So the website's not even just completely structured from a domain standpoint. You're on a different domain at this point. So that's very, very bad. So obviously this entire site would need to be rebuilt just from that alone, but also you want to have dedicated services pages, and you do a lot more than just these services, obviously. So you
Right.
need to have relevance of all the services that you do that match what you put in the Google Business Profile. So everything is siloed. So all the different plumbing services, all the different HVAC services, that's what you want to look for, and then have the location pages that I talked about. So if you look at one of the sites we built, One Up Plumbing, you'll see that they have all their different, now they don't do HVAC, they just strictly do plumbing, but you got
Okay.
all the different plumbing services that they do, including emergency plumbing, and then different types of water treatment that they do, and then their locations. So they're in Arizona, so they have all the different towns, either incorporated or unincorporated towns or cities within their service area that they cover. And we have dedicated pages. And then inside the pages, we link to all their services. So you're creating service relevance to all the different locations. Now, they do the same services in every location, but you're still creating that relevance between the services you provide and the locations that you provide it. And when you go to the service pages, same thing. There's an element block that has all the different locations. So you're informing that you provide all these services. And then the greater area is the Phoenix metropolitan area. So
Hmm.
what we have to do is define what that greater area is for you. And on your website, the SEO title is going to be that greater geographic area. Right now, it just says Northern Mechanical, Plumbing, Gas, Heating, and Cooling, but there's no geographic identifier. You've got the who you are and the what you do, but you don't have the where you do it. So that's going to be the greater geographic area, whatever that entity is, defined by Wikipedia. And then you're going to have your location pages be the more specific locations underneath that. So everything is in a proper hierarchy. So that's that for the website restructure, dedicated service pages, dedicated location pages, proper main SEO elements. And the H1, for example, should be the brand name. Right now, it's plumbing and HVAC solutions for your home or business, and
Mm,
that looks like it's also right next to each other.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
needs some
solution
work.
space in between the two. It's a line break, but there's no space. But either way, it should be, the homepage is all about the brand. So it should be the brand. That's when people heard about you, they were referred by you, whatever, and they're doing a brand search. Maybe they saw an ad. It's going to be your homepage. So we'll go more into, and we have other videos that talk about this in more depth, but this is just a lightning round. So we're going to go through it really quick. So all of the main SEO elements, your main headers, your page titles, your SEO titles, all those things need to be optimized properly. And that's all part of a website restructure. It's all done for you. And then the blog. So you have a blog here. There's no need for a blog. The helpful content update, Google's like, no, we don't want any wasted pages because they're actually going to compete against your service pages. You're
Okay.
not a blog site. You're a local business that services a local area. Your service pages are enough. More web pages are being created than Google can actually crawl it. So Google wants lean and mean. They want just the bare minimum to explain who you are, what you do, and where you do it. You don't need blogs. Any marketing company trying to sell blogs and all that stuff, that's a major red flag specifically for a local business, whether it's medical, automotive, home services, salons and spas. If you're a local business, you no longer need to do all that blog stuff. You should have robust service pages with proper Q&As related to those service pages. That's all you need. That's it. If you start pumping the website with blogs and stuff, you'll actually see a reduction in SEO.
Gotcha. I think that was information though given back in the like not too long ago, right? Like you got to have the blog area, or maybe I'm way
Yeah,
outdated.
well, even
But
to this day, there's a lot of SEOs that are telling you got to fill out all this content because they're just so out of date. That's
yeah,
why AI is even really bad at giving SEO advice because AI is just regurgitating what it can find online. And
yeah,
most because the algorithms have changed so much, a lot of the information online is outdated advice.
right.
And still SEOs are giving just 2-3 years out of date, sometimes even more. So no, you don't need blogs anymore.
Got
So
it.
the true professional SEO agencies have been able to separate. So it's funny because there's a new term called content pruning, where we're going back to all the websites because the old strategies were all about throwing as many words on the page, spamming
Yeah,
keywords and all that stuff. All that's gone with that. That was the whole point of the helpful content update. It's been a series of updates over the course of time, but everything now is the new semantic web. It gets it. It doesn't need you to spam stuff so much. It's just bloat, and
right,
they know it's not good for customers. And if it's not good for customers, they don't want it. So Google's gotten really, really intelligent about that. So they know that a lot of times customers aren't even going to websites anymore
right.
because they're just going right to the Google business profile or whatever and saying, okay, you got enough reviews, I'll give them a call. Right. But when
Yeah,
they do go to the website, they've got no time to read long form text. They're not
sure.
reading.
I always thought that too, but that's what they used to tell us to do.
Yeah, yeah, no. So everything should be chunked and nice and easy and just to the point. And then citations. So again, we talked about that. Branded assets. A branded asset is something that you actually control. So, for example, like social media, your Google site, anything where you can log in and make the edits yourself. If it's a directory listing, that's not a branded asset because you have to submit a request to the Better Business Bureau, local chamber of commerce,
Mm,
yellowpages.com, city pages, super pages. You have to tell them these are the changes I need to make. Please change them. Right. So those aren't branded assets. Those are directory listings. And then press releases. Press releases have gotten very, very, very important for AI. AI, again, language learning model, it's reading mentions of the brand out there, and press releases are really hot. In some AI models, when you're actually running searches like best plumber near me, sometimes you'll actually see the press releases on a side panel. So, very, very important to get press releases out there. And then as far as the backlinks, you wouldn't qualify for backlinks because the entire site needs to be structured. So you're going to have all new URLs for the
mm,
different service pages and location pages. You don't even qualify. If any firm is trying to sell you any kind of like package deal with all these different things like backlinks and everything else, run, because there are certain things ethically you should not be doing until other things are built properly to begin with. Otherwise, you're not getting the full value of it.
yeah,
And then, of course, review signals. You've been making a strong effort to get more reviews. That's fantastic because it's the second highest ranking factor behind the Google Business Profile for showing up in the local 3-pack. But AI is also, if you look at recommendations by AI, when it says which companies to choose, you'll often see it saying because of their reviews, their reviews, their reviews. So obviously they're reading the reviews. So
yeah,
AI also wants heavy reviews. There's technology that integrates with scheduling software, car dealerships, medical software that we provide that allows you to automate the whole process, and all sorts of amazing technology to get the highest conversion rates, both text, email, with your logo included, everything to maximize the number of reviews that you can get in. Doing that and outpacing your competition is absolutely critical. Now, obviously, some of your competitors already have over 1,000 reviews. They've been doing it for many years, and they might even have a lot more tech. So it's a lot easier because they're doing a lot more jobs. The
yeah,
whole point, though, is you want to close the gap. You don't want to keep having that gap get wider and wider. So that will have a significant impact as well. So that's the lightning round. I tried to do it in 20 minutes, and I think it's right. We just hit
Pretty
about
good.
20 minutes.
Again, folks, this was Austin, owner of Northern Mechanical in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great guy, does amazing work, and he deserves to be found and chosen over the competition. No two companies are the same, so not all advice in these audits will apply to every business. But more often than not, businesses across all industries share similar challenges. Some of the advice will be relevant. So be sure to like and subscribe to future lightning rounds. And if you want your own business audit on camera, head to getvisible.com right now and let us know. Thanks for watching. See you in the next lightning round.